But it's late on my side, and I know we just did a real good live stream. I was sharing some great news with y'all about my book finally getting physically available, the physical copies of my book and that sort of thing. And just speaking on that water situation and what we should, you know, like I like to say, I don't like to tell nobody what to think. I would like to show you how I think so that you might adopt some of the things and some of the tenets that have made me a spiritually successful young brother in this life. But I don't like to force nothing on nobody, like a missionary or nothing like that. If you don't do what I'm saying, then you gonna die or something like that. You know what I mean? I just like to live by example to the best I can. And a lot of y'all know I just celebrated my 15th year in this truth. And if y'all know anything about stories and testimonies, it's it's difficult to embody a whole testimony in a certain amount of time. It's difficult to share every aspect and nuance of that walk, especially if it's been over a certain amount of time. So we like to share what we can. But today, right before I went live, my pops had called me, and I wasn't sure how long the conversation was gonna go. So I just was like, "Hey, I gotta call you back when I'm done with what I'm doing." And we went on live. We did our thing. I appreciate everybody who joined. And then I didn't know why he was calling me though. And then I prayed afterward. I pray before every live, okay? And when I get off the live stream, I pray and give thanks. Um, so I got off the live stream. I just prayed and give thanks for everybody who participated, everybody who was a part of it. And then I knew I had to call him back, but I was still in the throes of feeling the energy from the live stream. I just had to drink some water, calm myself down a little bit and just marinate on what had just happened with that live stream. Then he texted me, and I think he might have thought I forgot to call him back. And he was like, "Man, I just was really calling to tell you one of your good brothers got killed the other night." I said, "Oh, no." Last time I said that like that, one of my sons had heard me. That's when Kobe and Gigi and the other 7 people on that airplane or that helicopter got killed. When I got that news on my phone, we was headed to one of my son NJB games. I don't know if y'all got NJB wherever y'all at. Thank you, bruh. Thank you, Brother Carlton. Y'all don't know if y'all got NJB. That's the National Junior Basketball League for the youngsters to play. So I remember January 26th, we was on the way to the NJB game and found out about Kobe. So that's the last time one of my children heard me gasp like that. So when my dad texted me and told me that my good brother Amir got killed like 2 nights ago, it was pretty much in line with my 15th anniversary of walking in this truth. Now my brother Amir, real solid. He was about 2, 3 years older than me. And he's from my hood, Central Vallejo, Millersville. And the thing about it is, when he was like 13 years old, he got shot before. He got shot right in his face. Somebody had tried to break into his home. He was the only boy. And his mother and his sister was at home with him. And he wasn't in the street or nothing like that at that time at all. And somebody broke into his house trying to steal some stuff from them just because they felt like it was an easy lick. And he did his best to defend his mother and sister and ended up getting shot as a little boy. And he survived. And when that happened in our hood, it made it difficult for him to trust people because, in the hood, one thing about the hood that's crazy is when crime takes place, it's always somebody outside of the person who did the crime that know what happened. And it's difficult to look at people. You know what I mean? It's literally difficult to look at people and trust people because these people might be around you just to see if you are hip or know what's going on with the crime that was committed so they could report back to the person who really did the crime. And you never know who know what. And so as a young boy, that really caused him not to trust a lot of people. But I was one of the people that he trusted. And we was always good friends, always, even though he was a few years older than me. We was always good friends. And he wasn't one of my rapping partners. He didn't rap, he didn't do none of that. So he was somebody who always felt responsible for his mother and his little sister. And what makes his killing so interesting to me is that his killing happened pretty much on the 15th anniversary of my change over in the truth. And he was one of the first people who hit me, who came to my house and was like, "Jules, what's going on, bro? Like, what you mean? You in the Bible now?" Like he was very inquisitive from a good brother perspective and wanted to know. And even though when I shared with him the conviction that came over me and I shared with him my testimony, and he was very well aware of the type of life I was living before that day. Uh, it was around August 15th, right now, where he first came to me and was like, "Bro, what's going on?" And we sat in the car. He asked me, did I want to smoke some herb, and I was like, "Nah, bro, I don't want to do nothing. I just got to tell you what's going on." So he rolled up. I'm not gonna stop nobody from doing what they do. He rolled up and he was just smoking, listening to me. And I honestly thought that would be the start to something to where, maybe he might take a page out of whatever book I was a part of. But, you know, the thing about this life, y'all, is that we never know when our time is up, one, and we have to do our best not to be deceived and tricked out of position, like I like to say. Um, Worldly and earthly possessions, are of no benefit in the afterlife. Worldly and earthly possessions. And a lot of times, those of us who suffered on earth, depending on what type of pious life we live, what type of righteous and upright life we live, many of those types of people do indeed get their eternal rewards in heaven. And what the devil tries to do, and has been very successful at, is tricking millions and millions and millions of people out of the eternal rewards in heaven in exchange for the temporary worldly rewards that we are not able to take with us once it's time for the devil to collect. And I don't want this message to be misconstrued as me saying that the devil collected on my brother. What I'm saying is that we all get this calling when we are in position or potentially placed in the position to do the service and the work in servitude for the Most High in this satanic kingdom. The world is beautiful, y'all. The earth is beautiful. The earth, the creation is beautiful, but it have been taken over by the wicked one. And I just thought it was so ironic that on this day, out of all the days, 15 years later, one of the first brothers to ask me what was going on in my life gets killed in our hood in cold blood. And whenever we have an opportunity to speak on these things, I know my brother's not mad at me for doing this right now and to bringing light to his situation in this way and for bringing light to his killing to make it a learning opportunity and to make it an opportunity to really think deeply about our mortality while we're here. And I know that he appreciates this. because he wasn't no punk. And whoever did it, I just know that they're gonna have to pay for that nefariousness as well, that malicious intent. Because my brother Amir, he was a very private person. He was a very peaceful person. He was very aware of protecting himself and his family, of course. But he wasn't the type that go out looking for trouble, starting trouble. He was the type that liked to handle his business, go to work, handle his business, and get home. And whatever happened 2 nights ago in our neighborhood that caused him to lose his life, I know those who were responsible for that in this realm will also have to be accountable for it. And they were deceived and tricked as well into thinking that whatever they was going to do to try to get some stripes or to try to, if they tried to jack him or lick him or something like that, for what? The riches of this world is temporary. The riches of this world come. That reminded me about the Luke chapter 16, verses 19 through 31, the rich man and Lazarus, where it say there was a rich man who was dressed in purple and fine linen and lived in luxury every day. At his gate was laid a beggar named Lazarus, covered with sores and longing to eat what fell from the rich man's table. Even the dogs came and licked his sores. The time came when the beggar died, and the angels carried him to Abraham's side. The rich man also died and was buried in Hades, or Sheol, as the Hebrew Israelites say, in Sheol, where he was in torment. He looked up and saw Abraham far away with Lazarus by his side. So he called to him, Father Abraham, have pity on me and send Lazarus to dip the tip of his finger in water and cool my tongue, because I am in agony in this fire. But Abraham replied, Son, remember that in your lifetime you received your good things, while Lazarus received bad things. But now he is comforted here, and you are in agony. And besides all this, between us and you, a great chasm has been set in place, so that those who want to go from here to you cannot, nor can anyone cross over from there to us. He answered, Then I beg you, Father, send Lazarus to my family, for I have 5 brothers. Let him warn them, so that they will not also come to this place of torment. Abraham replied, They have Moses and the prophets. Let them listen to them. No, Father Abraham, he said, but if someone from the dead goes to them, they will repent. He said to him, If they do not listen to Moses and the prophets, they will not be convinced even if someone rises from the dead. That was Luke chapter 16, verses 19 through 31. So whenever I listen to that story and I read that story after one of my loved ones got chopped down and took out the way, I think about that fateful day 15 years ago when I was in the dead, when I was as a dead man walking. You see, before I was awoke, I was a dead man walking. My number was finna get called. I was out here living recklessly. I was out here living to die. I hope y'all understand what I'm saying. I wasn't who y'all see right now. I was out here. I was a disgrace to my family. I was a disgrace to my heritage. I was a disgrace to my bloodline because I wasn't using this life. I wasn't using this breath of life, this gift of life, the right way. This is the whole part of me telling you this testimony from 15 years ago. And when I was brought to see the truth of my life, I wanted to take everything that I had realized, and I wanted to go to all my brothers, all of my sisters, including my brother Amir, who was just killed 2 nights ago. And I wanted to tell them about what I had finally come to realize. And see, what this scripture doesn't tell us is that when we are walking as dead, like them dead bones, when we are in that valley of death, and we are reinvigorated with the life of the Most High and the Holy Spirit come back to us and minister to us and talk to us, and we begin to listen to that call, we are like the dead. And then when that life is ministered to us and we listen to that call and we answer the call, then we are like the living again. And so, yeah, when we pass away from this physical body and we end up wherever we going to end up, the parable of the rich man and Lazarus becomes true, because if we find ourselves in Abraham's bosom, we are no longer able to go and minister to our family that's in the physical realm. We are no longer able to say, hey, y'all, this place is real. And if you don't get your life right, you're going to be down on the other side of this thing, on the other side of that chasm. Like the rich man who only worried about worldly things. Like the rich man who only worried about fine linens and that Mercedes Benz and that Range Rover and trying to get someplace in this life, being celebrated in this life. This is why I keep telling y'all, if the world is celebrating you, you better take account of your life and you better be careful. You better be real careful if the world is celebrating you. If you on the front cover of Jet and Ebony and Essence magazine and you at the BET Award and you getting all them hoops and hollers and people is shouting your name in the world, you better be careful. You better take real account of your life, because those is the tenets of people who get the world's riches, who get the temporary reward. But when it come down to that life being lost and having to live eternally or not, you're not going to get that same celebration. And these types of moments always bring that levity back to my life. There's no way that I knew when I got on live earlier that my brother got killed two days ago. I'm not even in the Bay no more. You feel me? So I do my best to stay with the news and stuff out there, but there's no way I would have known. And then the newspaper not even publishing names yet. You see, the streets talk. The streets talk. So that's how my dad found out. The streets talk. And he the one told me that my brother Amir got killed. It's not even in the newspaper. All that's in the newspaper is man got killed at 2 something in the morning 2 days ago on Solano Avenue, right there in our hood. And name will not be released until next of kin is notified. Y'all know about how that go. And it take a few days for the next of kin to be notified many times. So to know that my brother got killed, and to know that I don't think he even made 40 years old. Haven't y'all been hearing me on live saying how, on these live streams, talking about how I'm just thankful to make the age I'm at now, 37, because I look at Brother Martin Luther King Jr., I look at Malcolm X, the Honorable Minister Malcolm X, I look at brothers like my brother Amir, meaning Prince, Amir meaning Prince in Arabic, Prince of the Power. And to think that those brothers didn't even get to see 40 years old. And then to sit up here and look at my own mortality and look at my own life, it ain't nothing to be afraid of. I would be more afraid though. And see, that's how it work. When you not paying attention to your life, we live ignorantly, so we not afraid of nothing. And then when you start waking up to this life, you don't have nothing to be afraid of, because now you live in the life that you're supposed to live righteously. You live in how you supposed to live. So you're not afraid for your own life. I'm not afraid for my own life. I'm afraid for those who still sleeping, who don't realize that the mortality thing is real in this body has a mortality rate on it, but the soul and spirit don't. Either way it go, it's an eternity that's gonna be fulfilled. You just hope that your eternity is fulfilled to life, not to death. So I think about these things and I marinate on those who, after 15 years of my life being changed, still haven't changed over their life. That worries me. That worries me to think that I got brothers still to this day, sisters still to this day, who's in the clubs every weekend. Brothers and sisters to this day who's still in the street, who's still getting it off the curb, who's still sliding, who's still trying to get whatever they want to get, who's still out there grinding for no for no end, no effectual end except a life that's possibly lived in vain. Who's not taking that experience and making it a testimony and doing their best to help save another soul. That's why I be feeling how I be feeling. I don't want to play with my life. I'm not afraid, y'all. I'm not afraid. I'm just worried about all of my brothers and sisters who I truly love, who haven't answered the call, but who then definitely got that knock on the door so many times. And we never know when our time is up. So we want to go out guns blazing for the Most High. We want to go out guns blazing with the truth. I'm not gonna keep y'all too much longer on this live, but I want to say a prayer for y'all. And it's not gonna be my words either. It's gonna be Psalm 16. It's gonna be words that's already tried and true. And I want y'all to read Psalm 16 too. I want y'all to incorporate this prayer into y'all life because it's a tried and true prayer. You don't have to speak your own words if you're worried about what to pray. You can go into Psalm, and that's the power of the Psalms. You don't have to write a new song to the Most High if you're a musician and an artist. You could write one of these Psalms. You could sing one of these songs, just like you could pray one of them. So I'm going to pray this prayer. And I pray that it touches each and every one of y'all watching this live, whether you watching it live stream now or whether you're going to be watching it later on once it's published. But the prayer go like this. Keep me safe, my God, for in you I take refuge. I say to the Most High, you are my El, my God. Apart from you, I have no good thing. I say of the holy people who are in the land, they are the noble ones, in whom is all my delight. Those who run after other gods will suffer more and more. I will not pour out libations of blood to such gods or take up their names on my lips. O Most High, you alone are my portion and my cup. You make my lot secure. The boundary lines have fallen for me in pleasant places. Surely I have a delightful inheritance. I will praise the Most High who counsels me. Even at night, my heart instructs me. I keep my eyes always on the Most High. With him at my right hand, I will not be shaken. Therefore, my heart is glad and my tongue rejoices. My body also will rest secure, because you will not abandon me to the realm of the dead, nor will you let your faithful one see decay. You make known to me the path of life. You will fill me with joy in your presence, with eternal pleasures at your right hand. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Amen. Ashe means so be it, may it be so. Just like amen mean may it be it, so it be. I pray that prayer to the Most High tonight in front of all of y'all so that y'all might pray a prayer similar to this one, or might pray the exact one, Psalm 16. I pray this prayer in front of y'all tonight because one of my dear brothers named Amir just got killed 2 nights ago in my neighborhood, Millersville, Central Vallejo, in the Bay Area, California. I pray this prayer to y'all tonight because when I got on live earlier to the Most High in front of y'all tonight, because when I got on live earlier, my dad was calling me to tell me about this. And I don't know how I would have got on live earlier today on the live stream if I would have picked up the phone and heard this news that he was sharing with me tonight or this afternoon. I don't know. But everything happened for a reason. And instead of me answering the phone call at that time, I went forward with my live stream, hoping that I would still be able to talk to my dad. Then when he texted me and told me that my good brother Amir got killed, I had to contemplate the news that I received because it's very sad. But I knew I wasn't going to be able to go to sleep peacefully tonight if I didn't tell and share this with y'all. not for the sake of sharing bad news, nope, but for the sake that my brother Amir, he was one of the first ones 15 years ago who came and sat by me and asked me what was going on. And I know that he would want me to share his life with y'all, even a little bit. And my brother suffered in life. He wasn't one with swords and legions and none of that. But as a little boy, he was shot in his face. And every decision my brother Amir made after that moment, it was about living his life as long as he could and taking care of his mama and his sister. Last time I seen my brother, he came over to my house, and it was one of them type of visits where I don't let too many people over my house, period. But he came over, and I know subconsciously he wanted to see if I was still on that walk, if I was still walking and talking the way I was supposed to for the Most High. And we kicked it for about 4 or 5 hours. I got hungry, so I made us some noodles, some top ramen noodles. And it was real funny because he always liked cheese in his noodles. And I thought I could get away with just cooking him the noodles without him asking me for some cheese to put in them noodles. But he asked me for some cheese, just like I knew he was some cheese and hot sauce. And I just so happened to have some shredded cheese in the fridge, so I dropped some cheese off in them gourmet top ramen noodles. You know how we do in the hood. And he smashed them noodles. And Judy, these smacking. You know what I'm saying? And so we kicked it for about 4 or 5 hours that day. And that was the last time I seen my brother in the flesh, you know what I mean? And it's like we both had to ride into the sunset. And the thing about my walk, it just wasn't his cup of tea yet at that time. And a lot of us, you know, we share our testimonies and we hope that our testimonies can help people and see the light how we see it. But that's the part that hurts in this walk is that no matter how much we try, no matter what words we say, it's always up to the individual at that time to either listen and abide and take heed or to ignore. And one thing about my brother Amir is he never ignored it. You know, a lot of people like to shut their ears down to the message and like to shut their ears down to what's being said, but he never ignored it. It's just that he didn't feel like what he was doing at the time coincided with that leg of his life. Now, because I haven't talked to him in such a long time, one of those things is I don't know where he was in his life right now. Just because he got gunned down in the hood don't mean that he was doing nefarious and malicious things. You know, he was every place he needed to be at that moment. And so that's the other part that we got to pay attention to. That's why I'm not getting on here saying he in the place of the rich man. Nah, I'm not saying that at all. My prayer is that he was taken back with the Most High because shouldn't no 13-year-old ever get shot in his face. Shouldn't no 13-year-old have to be the man of the house and have all that weight on his shoulder. We like to say, man, get the monkey off your back, but some of us be having King Kong on our back before we even grown. So when you take account into all these things, all I want to do is celebrate my brother's life, but I also want to bring some sort of awareness to it because that's what he would want me to do. So I think about these things and I think about how we live to the best of our abilities within the awareness that we've been blessed with. And hopefully we answer that knock on the door so that our awareness can be increased, so that we can be brought further into the truth, so that our borders, the boundaries that we are placed in, have that hedge of protection on them from the Most High. Listen, y'all, I hope you are taking account of what I'm saying. And it's a fine line. I'm not saying don't provide for your family. I'm not saying not to go to work. I'm not saying not to make money for yourself. I'm not saying any of those things. All I'm saying is pay attention to what your intention is on. It's one thing to have the necessities and the things that make you comfortable, but it's another thing to go out of your way to flex and to get things materially speaking that you really just don't even need to be focusing on. If it take your focus away from your purpose too long, then you should do your best to reel yourself back in and pray that you have grace to be reeled back in so that you can actually get back in focus to your actual purpose, the purpose that's going to set you up for your eternal arrangements and not the purpose that's going to set you up for your temporary arrangements. I'm thankful I'm not no 80-year-old, 90-year-old man telling y'all this. Because then y'all could have the right to say, well, elder, I mean, you talking this stuff now, but where was you when you was in your 30s and your 20s? Where was you back then when you had your whole life in front of you? Where was you when you had all your youth to you? Now you on your deathbed, and you 2 weeks out from your death, and now you talking this stuff to me? Nah, I think you got a chance to live into your 90s, and you was living how you wanted to live. I think Imma try that package myself. And then when I get 85, 90 years old, then I sit down like you when I'm 2 weeks out from passing and I talk to my people and I try to get them to see the light. Nah, I'd rather talk and use my youth. I'd rather use my youth when I got all my strength and all my faculties. So you can't say I'm all time a tripping. Nah, you could say, bruh is on something right now. And he feels something, he sees something, but he using his days and his youth to deliver this message of what he perceived as being truth. So look, y'all, I hope you got something from this. RIP, rest in power to my brother Amir. My condolences to his mom and his sister, his children. I'm not in the bay right now to hug nobody, but I send my hugs of life to his family. Um, I'm not gonna be able to make his funeral if he even have one. So it's just a lot of deep thought. And if I could do anything right now to help, I would rather get on this live stream and remind all of y'all to stand strong in the purpose that the Most High called you in, to not trip on nobody that's tripping on you while you in this walk, to not let nobody deceive you and trick you out of position, but to recognize the greatness within yourself, that greatness that will give you the courage and bravery to move forward in this type of walk. And to really honor the Most High this way when you have every free will faculty to go another way. Like I said, it's one thing to be on a deathbed and all of a sudden want to do the work, but it's another thing when you, with full mental capabilities to do anything, and you choose to do this or you choose to live for the Most High. It makes a difference in my book, but I'm not the one to have to judge. I'm not the one to be the final judge. All I could do is take these words out of this scripture and I can share them with you. And if any of the words convict you to move a certain way, then I ask you to look at me as your brother and say, well, dang, them same words convicted bruh, and he moving the way he moving. And it's not about one thing I don't want y'all to misconstrue before I go and end this live stream. Like I told y'all, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of death. Let me tell y'all straight up. Whoever see this live stream, whoever get a piece of it when it published, I don't do this because I'm afraid for myself. This is where self-sacrifice come into play. A lot of people will be like, I believe just because they don't want to go to hell. Like, I believe in this, I believe in that, just for their self. And I'm not about that package either. I'm doing this regardless of where I go, y'all. And I'm hoping that it hit. I'm doing this service whether I end up in heaven or hell. Because this is what I've been convicted to do. I know my life up to this point. And everything that I done did in my life that was part of my free will choice, I deserve whatever punishment coming with it if it's going to be a punishment. And I know that I have to use this life in service. That's where I'm coming from with it. Whether I get rewarded for the service or not. And that's where we have to learn how to be selfless. My advice is don't pick up this work just because you feel like you need to be rewarded, because then it's going to be muddy. Your service is not going to be full. Do this service because you don't know what's going to happen, and you're not afraid of what's going to happen. You willing to accept whatever it is that happened, but you just know that you had to do this service. And because if somebody else saw you doing it, then maybe that person might contemplate their own mortality and their own immortality. They own eternal placement, but not just solely based off of myself. All right, y'all. It's your brother True Jew. You know I love you to life always. I didn't know I was gonna be getting back on here with this message like this, but I'm thankful for my brother Amir life, the years that he was able to live. I'm thankful for being able to really kick it with my brother, to really have them man to man conversations, to really be in the car kicking it, to really be at the house kicking it, to really talk about life kicking it. And my prayers is to his mother and his sister right now, his children, and he cared deeply for them. So I'm gonna go ahead on and sign out for this evening. Y'all stay blessed. Y'all stay vigilant. Most High willing, Most High Mama, Papa willing, I'll be back with another one for sure. But until then, gone.